Okay, you know those late August summer evenings when it's hot and humid and you're just dying for a little bit of refreshment and you're like, "Yeah, let's go jump in the lake." And you run off the end of the dock and you fly free for a few milliseconds before you hit cold water. That's what we're going to paint today. That freedom. So we're going to start with the sky area, and I've taped off the edges as well as the horizon line, just because it makes it a little easier. So wet that area down, and we're going to touch that with some really nice magentas and permanent pink and some purples and a little bit of quinacridone gold. And then with a dark mix of hooker's green dark and a little indigo, we're going to make those hills off in the distance. With our sky area all dry, we're going to take that tape off and start on the water. Using some really nice loose brush strokes and a dilute blend of turquoise with a little bit of Payne's gray, we'll fill in that whole area. We'll add a few touches of the magenta and purple and quin gold just to get a bit of that reflection from the sunset. We'll deepen those tones a little bit again with that turquoise and Payne's gray mix. Remember to keep your brush strokes loose. And then with a darker mix of the same colors, we're going to add some little wave lines in there just to give it some movement. We're going to add a base layer to our dock with some yellow ochre and a little bit of burnt sienna and burnt umber. With that same lovely mix of hooker's green dark and indigo, we're going to add just a little bit of an island maybe there in part of the lake. And using my smaller brush and some burnt umber, we're going to add some little lines to indicate the wood in the dock, and then tipping that brush on its side a little bit, almost parallel to the paper. If you drag that across the wood area, you're going to get a bit of dry brush, rough edge texture. And our subject is backlit by the sunset. So our skin tones and other tones are going to be darker and a little bit more muted. And where this is a tinier piece because it's a ACEO size, I'm using my rigger brush to do the finer details. And we're still going to add some deeper shades for shadows because, of course, there's still going to be shadows, and that helps to give your subject a bit of form. Keeping your closer to you values lighter and they're further away from you values a little darker helps to add that depth and that bit of interest. So our subject's clothing is also backlit. So we're going to start with a paler shade of pearl red, and then while it's still damp and wet, we're going to drop in a little bit of burnt umber to sort of create that shadow with the bit of light that's coming in around the edge of the fabric. Yeah, and using my size zero brush, I'm going to add some wild and crazy and kind of wet hair flying there behind her. Oh, I forgot about the indigo for the shorts. We're going to add some shadow and darker indigo for a little bit of detail on there. And then some burnt umber to just create that deeper shadow in the t shirt. And with a more green blend of Hooker's Green Light and some burnt umber, I'm going to create some tall grass there around the dock. And using my rigger brush to just sort of pull up the tall grass blades. Yeah, I'm just going to add a couple of little shadows along the shoreline with some moon glow. And with that, our flying jump into the lake is all done. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel and liking my videos and tutorials. Have a great afternoon. Bye.